let me express my gratitude to Dr. Abdullah and to the Islamic Society for welcoming us here this evening. It's certainly a glorious evening to be a woman. And I stand before you as a member of a patriarchal church, led, guided, and directed by prophet, seer, and revelator, Thomas S. Monson. Restored by a prophet, Joseph Smith, and in the tradition of the Jewish religion, where we find our roots, and I think relate very strongly to Rabbi Mintz as she talks about the tradition of Rachel and Rebecca, Sariah, and so on. We begin very early in a young woman's life to prepare our women in the LDS Church to be leaders, both in the church, in their roles, various roles as women, and in society at large. By the time they're 12 years old, young women serve in 3 separate age groups and classes with the president of the class, counselors, and a secretary. They learn to organize, they learn public speaking, they learn to be comfortable with their role as women. They're encouraged by their parents in strong families to explore their talents. An emphasis is put on their education, and always they are prepared for their future role as a mother. At 18, they are welcomed into a women's group, a women's organization, which is called the Relief Society. Prophet Joseph Smith claims that the church was not fully organized until he had organized Relief Society. That's how important this organization is to the functioning of the church. Relief Society is a strange name for this society, for this organization. I've always wanted to explain that. But the fact is, it is one of the largest women's organizations in the world and provides a great avenue for leadership and charitable service to the women of the LDS Church. The motto of Relief Society is charity never faileth. And this is the arm of the LDS Church under a presiding priesthood holder in a ward. It would be a bishop that serves the charitable needs of a ward. And I thought of how to explain that to you, so I decided I would just give you a little metaphor that is a story of the way that Relief Society is organized. In every ward, that's a group of about 600 people, there is a female, a woman who is called Relief Society president. She has counsel, she has a secretary, and we are ordered in terms of partnerships called visiting teaching partnerships. And through that organization and those individual women, the bishop of a ward is informed on a regular basis of needs or circumstances in any of the homes over in those families that he has care of. And so my metaphor, my story, is of a phone call that came to a young mother early one Monday morning, and a tender older voice on the other end of the phone said, oh, I'm just calling to see how you're feeling today and if there's anything I can do to help. And the young mother said in that tired voice, I haven't slept all night, I've got 5 loads of laundry, the baby's sick, my husband had to leave for work early, and I just don't know how I can cope with this day. And the kindly female voice said, well, don't worry, dear, I'll be right over. I'll start a load of laundry, I'll get the children off to work, I'll go to the store and be back in time to start the crock pot so the dinner will be ready when Bill comes home. And then she said, by the way, how is Bill? And the young voice said, I don't know, who's Bill? The older lady said, well, your husband, my dear, your husband. She said, my husband's not called Bill. And she said, oh, I am so sorry. I must have called the wrong number. And a tired, sad voice at the other end said, does that mean you're not coming over? I tell you that story because there is great comfort, great camaraderie, and great female association in knowing that we tend each other in that way. And yet, I need to tell you, as an LDS woman, that I'm a product of every woman that sits at this table, born and raised Roman Catholic. My grandparents lived within 100 miles of Sister Kresheena. I'm so proud and pleased to know her. She represents so much of makes me what I am. Rabbi Mintz, my dear friend, someone that I admire as a woman and as a mother, as a wife. And I need to tell her this story. Do you know the difference between a Jewish mother and a Rottweiler? I'm going to tell this to Rabbi Mintz. Eventually, the Rottweiler lets go. And in the spirit of Rebecca and Rachel, every eldest woman in this room identifies with that. And I am the mother of a 31-year-old woman, married with 2 children. She's an attorney, and she practices part-time in her profession. I have a beautiful daughter-in-law, an architect, who is the mother of 2 children and who teaches part-time in the Texas University system, teaches architecture. So education is a vital part of what we support and what we encourage in our young women. But a time comes when in the LDS Church, it is the role of mother that is most highly valued and honored. In the proclamation to the family, we were told mothers are primarily responsible for the nurture of their children. In this regard, women commonly take time away from their careers to fulfill this role when their children are young. This presents both a choice and a challenge to many women in the LDS Church. It is not uncommon for women to play that dual role, as my daughter and daughter-in-law do. But it is also relatively common for a woman to stay home with those young children. But we know that there is a time and a season for everything. And eventually, we all aspire to be Mary Beth Scal, who raised 9 children, spent 10 years on the education board, the school board, and is now our newest elected Clark County Commissioner. So there is a time and a place and a space for this great leadership of LDS women. And not only is it the role of an LDS woman necessarily to be married and to have children. I have a dear friend, a physician, who has made sacrifices and choices to fulfill her career role. But she still is maternal to me, maternal to my children and grandchildren, and a great mother figure in serving the members of our ward. All of us probably own a quilt that she has made. I have the utmost admiration for her, both her education and her talents. And so I come to the end of my time here, and let me just say this. In thanks to all of the women that sit at this table, how joyful I feel to be a member of the LDS Church, to be a woman, to be a mother, to be a wife, and to have had the opportunity to live and serve in this community. Thank you.